when my intelligence people tell me how wonderful Iran is, if you don't mind, I'm going to just go by my own counsel.
That's how President Trump usually talks about America's intelligence community, but now he's getting a chance to actually reshape it. Malcolm Nance is an MSNBC counterterrorism and intelligence analyst. Malcolm, the president talked about in January, that clip we showed from January 31st, that he said his intelligence people were misquoted and taken out of context. That was at congressional testimony. So I'm not sure what he thought was misquoted and taken out of context, because we've got the tape. This is just remarkable that the president of the United States is choosing loyalty over career intelligence officials.
I think at this point, by the choice of Admiral Joe Maguire, he thinks he's choosing loyalty over intelligence experience. Look, Sue Gordon was a commensurate intelligence professional, 30 years at the agency, deputy director of national intelligence. She knew how to shape the strategic plan of how the United States was going to collect information against terrorists and our near-peer adversaries of China, Russia, Iran, and whatever threats that came up in this world. Her depth of knowledge comes from that, and then managing those 17 agencies to meet the strategic goals of the United States so that it's not, we are all protected. Admiral Maguire, I think Donald Trump has made a strategic mistake himself. He is the head of the National Counterterrorism Center. He is a former Navy SEAL Admiral, Commander, Naval Special Warfare Command. He's a user, much less of an intelligence collector or a manager. But the problem is, for Donald Trump, is that Joe Maguire is not going to be politicized. He is not a yes man. He is not going to be allowed to be turned into a person that will just allow the president to believe what he wants.
So this is an interesting point, because when the president replaced Janet Yellen as the head of the Fed, there was no complaint about the work Janet Yellen was doing. She's very experienced. He brought in his own guy, Jerome Powell, and now he's fighting with his own guy because Jerome Powell's trying to resist being politicized by the president. But in the end, to the president, the fact that you're someone else's person or you existed before he got there is enough to make him question whether or not you're working in his interest.
Yeah, and this is his mistake. He views the whole world as a series of cronies and lackeys. And when you're talking about the intelligence community, particularly you're talking about the top, the top SEAL admiral, who, by the way, was close personal friends with Admiral Bill McRaven. A person who Donald Trump has very, very contentious relationship with, to put it at the least. They have a professional military ethos. They have an ethos with regards to their oath to the Constitution of the United States. And I don't think he's going to violate that in any sense of the word. He may be more diplomatic, Admiral Maguire, but Donald Trump sees these guys out of central casting. He sees a Navy SEAL, he sees the trident on his chest, and that's all he thinks. And he thinks, oh, those guys are on my side. He is going to get an intelligence organization and apparatus that is going to be even more aggressive than what I think Sue Gordon would have done, because McRaven is a forward operator. He ran the shooters. And so he now understands how, from the shooters collection, needs to be brought up into that broad space operational field. And he won't lie when North Korea launches a ballistic missile and tell the president that that's your best buddy.
That's the important part, right? This is one of those things where the intelligence community, by definition, sometimes works in a way that most Americans don't understand that what they're doing and don't understand the value of it. Nobody in America, virtually nobody outside of your community, understood who Sue Gordon was or knew who she was. But there is a danger in politicizing this, because it's the kind of thing that autocrats do.
Yes, it is. And I met Sue Gordon when she was at CIA. These are people that you would never notice passing on the streets, because their commitment is to the Constitution of the United States, to doing that job day in and day out, and taking care of their people. Care and feeding of the intelligence apparatus is the job. But if the President of the United States thinks that he's getting Vladimir Putin 2000, which is where he brought on his KGB friends to support him, and then turn the nation state into an intelligence apparatus, and then use those skills to, corrupt the world, That's not going to happen for Donald Trump unless he puts a political lackey in. And then, you know, the intelligence community can only produce the material. We can't make them consume it, but we're going to keep doing it the professional way.
Malcolm, always good to see you. Thank you, sir. Malcolm Nance.